adjourn this? Stop going to church.
Be mean, right?
Yeah.
All right.
We have enough people, right?
Quorum.
All right, let's get started. We'll call the meeting to order. At 18:17? You good with that? Yep. Roll call.
Do you have the minutes from last time?
I don't have them.
All right.
I know who they
All right.
are. There they are.
Okay, roll call. Michael Alonso. Absent. Francine Gonzalez.
Present.
Christian Inslee.
I'm present.
John Pettis.
I'm here.
Lonnie Mariscal. Absent. Richard Drennan.
Present.
David Robigo. Heston Klink.
I'm here for Weston.
You're on your own behalf. Scott Stogenbauer.
Here.
Ruby Cervantes.
She's
That's it, the committee's just on top.
Okay, that's it.
And
We have
Bonnie
quorum.
was just acting
Yeah.
for somebody.
Okay, we have, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. That's what?
That needs to come back to the draft.
Oh. Okay, next item, number 4, consent agenda, approval of minutes, meeting on December 20th of 2018.
Motion to approve those minutes. I second that motion.
Okay, we have a first and a second. First by Richard Drennan. second
Well,
by-
hold a second. Who are the two voting members from the fire department? Who are the two? I can vote. So,
Okay, put it on.
you're a voting member too? So
Yes.
Richard isn't a voting member at this meeting?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Second.
Okay. We have a first by Christian, second by John Pettis. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passed. New business. Item A, discussion possible approval of how often the Emergency Services Committee should meet. Quarterly, every other month, monthly.
Contract calls for at least quarterly.
I would say, this is we can discuss this now, right? So on the agenda, we're good. I know Heston, he had previously said in an email, I believe, that he was okay with quarterly, I guess, but it may not be enough, especially if you have to vote on some big deal item or we need approval to do something. And I know you and I had talked about it, Scott, and you feel like that would kind of break the back and the momentum of the group. On a quarterly basis, yeah, for sure, because then it would be like a burden. It's like, oh, well, we have to meet, you know? So I would say quarterly is a bad idea. In fact, I probably wouldn't go anything less than every other month.
Resolution's point of view on this is that, you know, we want the momentum of the committee to continue, and we'd like to see them continue monthly, and then cancel accordingly if there's no new business, but leave it on the agenda monthly to, or the calendar monthly to continue the meetings.
I agree with
And
that.
I would agree with that as well.
Monthly would be great.
That way, from the manager's office, the clerk's office, I'd like to request though, if we do that, that we start enforcing hard and fast the deadline for our agenda items. So we need them bare minimum the Friday before the meeting. We'd like to have them earlier than that. But we need to, and you guys are driving the agenda, so you're gonna have to prepare the agenda items with supporting materials, so that we have those to give out, and enough time for everybody to study them before the day of the meeting.
So if I understand what you said, Scott, we continue on a monthly basis, but if there is no new business or agenda items, then we don't meet.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with
sure.
that,
Totally
because, especially with the capital expenditures, there's so many of them, and it's they're kind of split up, so.
That's kind of what we've been running it so far, so, that's not really a change, but we gotta formalize that, so.
I agree with that. There's something going on, no new business, then we can wait a month. But if not, it's good to have it every month. Okay.
Another thing we might consider talking about, which isn't on this agenda, but we might put on a future agenda, is adopting a set of bylaws for this organization. We not have to reinvent them, just see if we can find an existing organization instead of their bylaws.
So I'll motion that we continue meeting monthly.
I will second that motion.
First and second. First by Scott, second by Christine. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Yes. On the B, subcommittee discussion on the quarterly report 2018 drill.
Which one?
So this was
That's the
domestic
previous
violence
one.
Okay.
one.
Yeah, so I have it half written. And in lieu of current circumstances, for the last couple of days in a row now, I tried to write that up. But what we do know is that it was specifically designed for newer officers. And everyone that responded was reserve, a year or two tops of total police experience. And they were specifically chosen for that. At the same time, Brennan and I had discussed an idea of potentially responding to an active shooter on Resolution property. At the last minute, I kind of dumbed it down to a domestic violence style scenario, because at the time I hatched the idea, it was October, which was Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So it was a little confusing, but not overwhelming, and we identified a few places where we can improve. But again, the scenario was basic, and it was designed to bring awareness of a few basic things for somebody with that skill set, with a year or two of total police work. They did well. One of our actors got a little rowdy, had to be taken into custody. It was kind of fun, actually, but they missed a few things which we expected they would. Big things, but we can work on that. We trained for a reason. And we were doing things on purpose, hiding like a shank in someone's back pocket and putting a firearm in a vehicle nearby to see if they would find them. So it was designed with a little trickery, but it went well, and it was fun, and we put it together on the fly, which I thought was a benefit, much like the one, it's not on the agenda, from yesterday. Just the ability to come together and do something quick, I think, is a benefit to us.
The one on the agenda for yesterday is on the agenda, the next item.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm still putting something in writing. It will basically say what I just said, what our purpose was, and kind of how we did, and I can present that at our next meeting.
Mike, my recap on that, we didn't include fire in it. It was just supposed to be police and just on a domestic violence case. We definitely need to get these officers trained up, right, and the younger ones, continue to work on that. But, overall went well. Response was good, we came to the right place. So from a response standpoint, no issues there.
You know what almost tripped him up? I never knew the physical address to the Lone Tree Gate, and I was hiding directly south, and I saw them arrive, and they were like, "What is this? What do we do?" It was kind of funny. And I would have done the same thing, because I know it as the Lone Tree Gate.
There's no address on the fence?
800. There probably is, but
I believe there's
yeah.
for deliveries.
I think they saw your car and thought you were already on scene.
And that
They
may have
didn't know
been
that's
it, too.
exactly when they came up. Sure, the chief's there. What do I
They
do?
might have
There's
seen me
nobody
hiding in
here.
the bush and said, Was it over
Because they passed and then they turned around, they looked at you and then they came in.
So one action we can take out of that drill would be probably to re-up our training, so we know that we're deficient on that right now. So we need to get police and fire, and one idea is to do more of a police-based training and fire-based
Yeah.
training. Separate the two, you guys are looking at different things.
Right, I think maybe,
There could have been a crossover with that, if somebody, if you're in domestic assault, if somebody actually assaulted somebody and stabbed them, which we have a lot.
right, and that was the idea. It was two gals that had lived together who were fighting and,
Right. And we were involved in that drill a little bit.
Take a call, take a call.
We did show up and did our side of it, just as we normally do.
yeah.
I mean, it was a pretty simple drill for us, some calls went all right for our
Okay.
side anyway. On that
So,
one.
So, I don't know if there's something to prove there, but,
Training is gonna be, I think you still got a thing, you're always getting officers, especially reserve programs, are always, and Superior Police is embracing what Superior Fire did for years, which is we hire a bunch of newbies and we train them up, and then the department takes and get the benefit of all the training. So it's on a constant training cycle, and that's gonna be, like Superior Fire hires 4 guys to keep one of them. So it's a constant cycle of training. Taking to get from scratch.
I don't know if anybody can answer in the room, it's probably more for the chief, but is there a training program that a regiment can go through? Is
Yes, so they have FTO manuals.
Okay.
So, they do, I mean, pick them up, some of them are veterans, they come from other agencies, some of them, we have 4 of them that just strictly put themselves through the reserve program through an academy, so it's like a weekend thing. So it wasn't full-time for them, they come, they pick up their manual. They're required at least 16 hours a month to volunteer. If they call in for shifts, to cover a shift, they get paid, but they can't cover a shift until after they complete that FTO manual, and it's gonna be probably about 4 or 5 phases. They go through with a full-time officer, they go through different scenarios, but it all depends, I mean, they work regular jobs. So some of them come up 2-3 times a week, those ones get off sooner, some of them come up once a week, family stuff happens.
So how many full-time do we have then that are?
9 full-time.
9 full-time.
And then we have 14 reserve officers.
So just the only thing with the fire department, you go with a 10-page training manual, it takes 6 months to train minimum. And they have to be checked off. You can tell, the fire department, you can tell them, they look different, they wear shirts on, which, I don't know if that's, I think fire, I don't know if the police department could do that, because they need the credibility to do it.
Green hat?
Yeah.
And they do, but I mean, for the most part, the 2 new ones that we hired, one of them left UPS to become a pilot. So it's not that he has, he knows what he's doing. He's flying through that FTO manual. He's come up, he flies like 14 days, off 14 days. I mean, he's gonna be off in no time at all. So he's pretty sharp on his, he's gonna get off pretty soon. And then you have some that actually really have a full-time job that come up on the weekends. It's not. But we're retaining them pretty well. In the last few years, we've only lost 2 of them.
The problem with the fire department usually is that we lose the sharp ones. The sharp ones don't last
They
long.
get picked up quick by the departments, right? Hard to blame them, they move on to that kind of money.
Our sharp ones have their own business or something, they're literally here just,
It's a hobby.
yes.
Yeah.
So we're pretty lucky in that sense. Officer Hall owns his own business. He's up here at least 3 days out of the week, 4 12-hour shifts, work through.
Well, that's,
Any more
the
discussion on that one?
chief's got taken care of business, so I guess we move on.
Okay. We'll move on to C, the subcommittee recap of the 4-1 emergency services drill on February 20th and 19th.
Can talk fit. So we had a scenario yesterday where there's a single injury in tent shaft, and we utilized Superior Fire, and we did a pre-drill briefing down at the firehouse. We talked through everything, then we went out and actually called it out through dispatch. Dispatch times were a lot better than previous drills, and we're getting better. And I think when I looked at it today, from call out getting up there was 15 minutes, and in total drill time from start to finish was 35, 32?
32.
32, transfer to airback, I think. So, as opposed to other drills in the past, and we cut our time almost in half. So we moving in the right direction. Things are moving a little smoother. Seat safety was great. Apparatus placement was great. Just understanding, big benefit we have right now is we have some of your full-timers working for us up there, so they know the lay of the land. So we need to share that knowledge that, you know, those guys have with the rest of the crew, so they're all as knowledgeable as everybody up there. But I'll let you talk to medical care how they did.
Yeah, the scenario was, had a victim that had a crushing injury, you know, from, like a
Skid steer.
skid steer underground, it pinned him against the wall and got away, and he actually was, I'm good, I'm okay, and then approximately 45 minutes later, yeah, I don't feel good, my stomach hurts, you know, and all this stuff, so we're kind of by an 8 ball from that point already. The call kicked out, and the G4S EMT showed up and started some assessment and taking care of the patient. Did a good job. You know, we recommended a couple of things they could do a little bit different, but overall did pretty good. And then when our call kicked out, we did have 2 page outs for some reason. They put in the call twice, and the first call we sent out they did not respond to it.
Dispatch called me and said that they didn't get a response from the rescue. I wasn't here to hear if the tones actually came through.
I heard them up there on my way to the first one, and they just said they didn't hear them, so they toned out again, and they heard that when they were
And they
down.
waited some time to tone out, because I was monitoring it from my desk,
Yes.
and I had both radios, I had police and a fire.
Right.
They pulled up 2 calls, they deleted 1 call, I don't know what the delay was on dispatch end, and then they toned it out, and nobody responded, but they waited a good while before they did the second. I have the time
Yeah.
on my desk.
But
But they should have waited, being a previous dispatcher, I would have waited longer than 60 seconds to do a second tone out, and it was probably a couple more minutes.
yeah,
They said they called inside the station, but Jason and them said they were outside the bay.
right. They're probably sitting out there. So, but other than that, I mean, it was a total 11 minutes from time we kicked out to our guys got up here, so it's, you know, that's still pretty good. I figured it should have been under 10 minutes, but it wasn't far off, but, you know, we're picking up the time. So
I did a report for you left of the actual response time for real emergencies, and its average is about 15 minutes.
15? Okay.
There's some 13s in there, and there's 1 or 2 17s.
And that's from tones down scene. I think our from call to tones was 6 minutes, I wanna say. Is that what we said yesterday?
Yeah.
I think it was 6 minutes from,
Yes.
for the relay.
I think it was 11 minutes after they were en route, or maybe it was what it was. Sorry, it wasn't tone out, but it was 11 minutes when they were out there, it showed up there. So it was probably 4 late, you're right. You know, and our guys got up there, you know, everybody seemed to do a pretty good job on that in the medical side of it. You know, there was a few things that we, you know, suggested to them, some pointers, and, you know, everybody was receptive to it. And we did not utilize air, we verbalized that part of it because, you know, we didn't need them for this drill, but I mean, overall, everything else went, I thought, a lot better. Our time's picked up, so, you know, that's an improvement, and that's, you know, that's what we're aiming for, to get a little better, a little quicker.
You guys use that LZ Echo before for a deal?
Yes.
Do
Yeah.
you know what happened with the police? Did we get the bottom of that one?
Yeah, it's just a matter of being requested, especially on a medical call like that,
Yeah.
because it wouldn't be routine and we wouldn't respond.
They wouldn't, so it comes up as fire, they have to request, so
Who
Pinal
requested?
County, fire, they'll just go
Okay,
to the radio and say, happy to respond.
Yeah.
Call Pinal County says fire, needs assistance, we respond up.
Which they would normally do, like if they were going to a combative subject or somebody that was whacked out on pills or something, they would say, hey, have the PD respond. But it probably created some confusion because they knew about the drill.
Right, and that's why what we called, right, exactly.
Did Pinal County do the dispatch or Florence? Do the drill?
It
Both.
went through the PSAP through, Pinal County, and then it went to Florence.
Florence has a whole flow chart, and they, based on their response type, then they dispatch certain resources. And unless, if that call type doesn't call for PD to dispatch, they won't dispatch them unless it's specifically requested.
Right.
So, unless that request is put through.
And the same with Pinal County Sheriff's Office, they're the standard PSAP. If it doesn't meet certain requirements, they're only gonna transfer to fire. Depending on the type of medical call, then they'll automatically pull a PD call and then go ahead and send it to fire, so they'll automatically be sent out. But if it doesn't meet those requirements, they're just gonna pass it to EMS. They're one who did it.
So just a question here. With limited resources here in town, why don't we call fire or police up for every fire call? Is there a,
I guess they're not that much help on most calls.
On most
And
calls.
we're taking them away. And there's also a security problem because for a long time in the past, we'd get a call for a truck versus car, semi versus car accident at the Arboretum. We'd get that 3 times a week. And the police would go out, the fire would go out, and the coyote would come through town and take his people off for the, hey, be a burglar in town.
Right.
So there's a problem with taking all of our police resources and dumping them into a call that may not be needed at. So, right, so we have limited police resources as well.
Sure. I haven't seen an issue, I don't know if you guys
No,
have.
no, not
As far as
really. I mean-
fire showing up and like wondering where PD is for the
Yeah.
type of call, it's rare.
Yeah, and
I mean, most calls are, I got my stomach, abdominal pain, nothing, a lot of them are kind of just I don't want to say run-of-the-mill call, but it's, general calls, chest pain, unless there's something significant there,
And most
somebody got
people
beat
know.
up, well, that kind of, I'm not too sure about that. Has PD been advised,
Yeah.
say, no, I'm gonna call them, or something like that, obviously, any unattended, or deaths, anything.
And most
big
of
like
us
that.
know too, if it's bad, we need to go,
Right.
and dispatch knows if it's bad. I mean, those guys are pretty sharp, they've been in this for a long time, they know, hey, these guys can get here a lot faster than the fire department can, like infant CPR or something.
Yeah.
If somebody's down
Yeah.
and they need help quick, they would send us anyways.
Right.
It's only on some,
There are some random calls, you guys are
Yeah.
already there, showed up, just because you've probably seen them on the NBC.
Yeah,
and
A lot of the
checking it
officers
out.
on the computer can see the call and we just,
Yeah.
if they're not busy, we
There-
just respond.
Most
Bottom
of us
line is there's a
have.
protocol that's been vetted and gone through the whole process of people suing and figuring out what the protocol should be. So, we probably shouldn't second guess it that much because they've got that figured out. So, if PD is needed and they're not there, you get on, you can get them there pretty quick. It's not like we're big team. So, it's never been really an issue. They're most of the time when I need them, they're there.
but we could.
But we
Thank
run into the problem in the past, a lot of people won't call EMS for that reason. I don't know if you remember
they-
back, because
sometimes
I didn't
they
call
would.
for you and then people stopped requesting EMS.
Yeah.
I think Todd, you probably ran into certain, if it
Oh,
causes more of a
yeah,
problem
like,
than anything else.
It's like, well, why are you here? We called the fire.
And certain addresses are already set up in the database, and Florence and Pinal County see it, and they're already alerted, this address needs 2 officers, security risk,
Gotcha.
there's addresses that are flagged. So if an EMS call did pop up, they're gonna
Yeah.
automatically pick up and say, hey, you need to dispatch law
Okay.
enforcement.
But-
PCS will try that for a while, didn't work out. They're sending deputies to all medical calls and it didn't work out. They're great.
So they're not even that anymore either.
No, it's gotta be like that, they're kind of tuned in, like that call right there that you heard this radio beep. That was a medical priority call. It's probably somebody not breathing. They automatically send a deputy and get the fire department and EMS en route. So they're kind of streamlined on, they know which calls to call PD for. But a lot of medical calls, they won't call PD unless fire requests them specifically.
And they don't treat us any different. They treat us the same way they treat the deputies when it comes to dispatching.
And we could ask them to do it differently, but they won't. They're gonna
Or-
follow their protocols.
Could we just internally say, there's a serious medical injury at resolution, we should respond? We can do it.
Well, I mean, and that's, again, but
But it's for anybody, like, I just don't want to single resolution out.
But if the, I've worked, my share calls up a resolution and PD would have just gotten in the way, they wouldn't have helped. And don't get me wrong, I respect what you guys do, but unless I need my
Right.
scene controlled, and up in resolution, your scene's already pretty controlled.
We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah,
The only-
and LZ is controlled, because they could set up an LZ for us too.
And that was where I thought we could have cut out a few minutes. And obviously in that situation, a few minutes would have been critical. We probably could have started working on the landing zone, or at least the request, and start working on the
Yeah.
air ambulance.
It's the nighttime shifts that I worry about. I mean, daytime, there's tons of resources up there. But at nighttime, I mean, 2 people are showing up from fire and 1 EMT, right? So from us, for us. So you've got 3 people there. You're not gonna have much more than that.
We're starting
Okay,
to
so you guys are thin at night too.
Absolutely.
for SFD.
And some of that's the nature of the scenario, like the DV one was probably 80% police, 20% fire.
Sure.
Yesterday was probably the reverse of that.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's probably okay,
Yeah.
as long as we equal it out throughout the year.
And that's something we might be able to do too, I guess, because middle of the night, we
Yeah,
know
you
that
just
something
automatically
critical in there, we
request
could request PD, we could use some help with an LZ, knowing there's limited people up there, something we can keep in the back of our
They have
mind.
a
maybe.
patient then, sometimes.
Yeah, well, and-
That helps a lot.
Sure.
And I was talking to somebody about it the other day, when I worked in Hayden, you probably remember these days, Tim, I mean, there was some old boy up there, he would fall out of bed on a regular basis, and I would have to go up there and pick him up and put him back in bed. That's fine. You know, I mean, I don't think anybody would be dumb enough not to call us and say, hey, this guy's heavy, we need some help.
Right, absolutely.
But I mean, we would certainly want to be mindful of that too.
Yeah.
Any actions out of yesterday's drill that you guys saw, that we need to work on before Q2?
I thought it went really fast. I mean, if it were reality, I don't know that it would have been much different. I mean, from the time he came out of the elevator and got to the LZ, 30 total minutes maybe, if that. But I didn't really see anything. But my lens is different from your lens, you know?
Yeah.
You, like,
There's things in my team I saw that I want to improve, you know, just some safety things around the shaft. I mean, so they pulled them out of the cage there, but they never closed the shaft door, right? So now you've got a 7,000 foot hole with a door there that, you know, and the teams are throwing wrenches around trying to undress the guy.
yikes!
Well, I mean, you have a serious safety concern now because now you drop a wrench 7,000 feet, you kill somebody, right?
Sure.
So,
Was there other guys down there?
at the time, no, but normally there would be, right?
Okay.
So, just things like that, we gotta just be, you know, I need my team there to step back, let, you know, your team take care of the patient, you know, a little more scene safety. You guys probably wouldn't even recognize it, you know, you have a 7,000 foot hole, you know, with a, 6-inch gap there that you could throw a wrench down, you know, so.
I didn't even know what,
Yeah.
other than being an elevator shaft, I didn't know what that was.
So having worked almost the same call in real life, you know, everybody there got the big eyes and freaked out and kind of froze. So drilling like this with your guys especially, because they're not medical professionals, when they see all that blood, they freak
That's
out.
true.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, reality just changes your stress and body, your overall
And so,
reaction.
and any help that, you know, the EMS crew, if they can just focus on their patient, and they're not having to worry about the shaft and the doors and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a real help, but in that situation, the layman would freeze and step back and say, oh, I don't know what to do, so I don't do anything.
Correct.
I'd like to see more hands-on as far as you do patient care, you know, they're kind of verbalize everything, you know, I'm gonna do this,
Yeah.
you know, I'm gonna put this in, I'm gonna expose the patient, you know, I know we've done that before, we actually put something on oversuit on, something cut off, some old raggedy clothes maybe. You know, actually pull some equipment out and use it, you know, we got some expired stuff, you know, that's why we like to save all the expired equipment,
Okay.
because it's good training stuff, you
It is.
can rip that open, this, you know, you can actually see instead of, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do
Like
this,
a
instead of
monitor.
verbalizing, actually do it.
Yeah.
And you're not wasting equipment because it's already outdated and good, and I'd like to see more hands-on that way. You know, it gives you the practice of actually doing it, and I think it would be easier because, have you noticed, you know, even the G4S employee, you know,
Yeah.
they're not used to verbalizing and scenario stuff. When you're actually taking care of somebody, it's a whole different ballgame. You're not thinking about, you know, you start doing actual patient care, you're more focused and you do what you need to do instead of trying to verbalize, and then you get frustrated and flustered, and you miss a lot of things.
Okay.
But it would give more practice if you actually did it instead of just saying I did it.
Gotcha.
And that would be easy enough to do, I think.
That G4S employee was
Yep.
also a Kearney paramedic, is that right?
NEMT, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's pretty common, right? A lot of them,
Or off duty.
yeah. Good idea.
Alright. I don't have anything else to add. You have anything else to add, Commissioner?
One question, real quick, the G4S, do they ever do their own internal training with each other, EMS wise?
We're trying to improve that, and that's why we're actually recruiting for a EMT supervisor right now. And that role, that supervisor will be training is like 90% of their job, because we were lacking that.
Yeah, I think this, when we have your trainings, or we have trainings together, that's the only time to train,
Yeah.
I think you gotta be training.
Another thing,
Any of this stuff. I know, little simple
Yeah.
stuff, whatever the basic stuff you do.
another thing we're working with Cobra Valley on right now is to get them ER time. And then we also wanted to look into getting ride-alongs with your team, you know, off duty, you know, so they can go down and actually see some trauma members.
Well, we've offered that before, nobody took us up on it.
So we can
Yeah, we could do that as far as, you know, they could ride-alongs, but actually a lot of the ride-alongs can't actually utilize skills, because there's a way we can around that, where they could actually use some of their skills, you know,
If we get on your base,
Well,
right?
it's, the rule was that it's under the direction of the paramedic on scene, what they use people for, but they're responsible for everything that person does, so most of the paramedics just didn't want to take on that liability, so we'll have to look at that, talk to the base and see if there's a way to clean it. But if our base is the hospital they're using as their training facility, and the base can authorize us to have trainees, so. But, I don't know, we have to have contracts for that, for with all the training facilities.
Okay. Look into that.
We're meeting with Queen Valley, or Coeur Valley next week,
Crystal or Neil or who?
I mean,
Okay.
but they're gonna tour us around and talk to about Base Hospital. There's some real concerns the fire department has about it.
Yep.
Number one, they make us patch for way too much, they don't have good, strong enough offlines. We should be able to treat a lot more without having to get on the phone. So, and they're talking about making them, a lot of, up there, they're making them transport to that hospital before they transport anywhere else, and that doesn't gonna work for us. We're gonna go closest appropriate, so we have to work those details out. But we're open to being based, right, from what I understand?
Yep, I'll be here.
So I met with Neil probably 6 months ago, and I had very similar concerns.
Yeah.
And they were really receptive to more offline, not transporting there, being available, more adaptive and to rural area up here. So I would just keep an open mind.
Last time I looked, you guys have the same offline look we do, just slightly modified, right?
Yeah.
So it's Banner Bay was off, or the
East Valley.
So if we all go together, that makes more sense. This is why we have the same offline now, is because we used to work, it was mostly Spirit fire off duties, but now it's mostly other agencies.
We've got a good coordinator up there too right now, so what I've been told is it's completely different than when you guys were there in the past. So.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of history for us old crusty people. But,
Yeah. Keep an open mind, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're gonna get past that. Yeah, but there's issues with other departments too. If you look back in that ancient history of Banner Baywood, they've got monster of their own issues too.
These guys reached out to, the Cobre Valley people contacted us as well about some kind of preparedness measures. I was kind of curious, but
They are our clinic in town, so it makes a lot of sense if we start using it for stuff. Another thing that Resolution doesn't use them for their occupational health either, use Banner.
I'd like to. So we've talked to Neil about that, and Neil's willing to, when enough demand is here, to add additional resources to that clinic. So, for instance, an X-ray machine you need, right? They have a room built with no X-ray machine, so, and then, he's willing to expand that clinic as long as we're using it.
Yeah, I asked the same question. He said, the X-ray machine is nothing, the tech is the problem.
Yeah.
You have to have enough activity to actually justify paying that guy, and they're expensive, so. And that's kind of the issue with trying to work with them more, is we try to improve their economics of scale, work with them more often. Maybe if we build our relationship back, it's an avenue to get our interfacility transports back, which means revenue to us, so. There are benefits for everybody.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Any other discussion on that one? We good?
No discussion on that item, on the Q1? Okay, we'll go on to D, discussion approval of the MOU for AZ card?
ASCAR,
ASCAR.
which is the Arizona Child Abduction Response Team. It's basically a large collection of child crimes investigators throughout the state that came together and said, if you have an abducted child, we will respond to your town and provide resources and manpower, but we will not take over the investigation, but we will most certainly assist you. And they have signed memos of understanding with several different departments throughout the state. We actually sat and had a presentation from their statewide coordinator, who's a sergeant with Glendale PD. He came to one of our intelligence network meetings, explained the whole thing. It sounded good. One of the agencies in the room said, we've actually benefited from this. That was the San Carlos PD. They had actually had ASCAR detectives respond and help them out. Like the child homicide from last year, to provide an efficient response for us would be a little challenging. Yeah, we bring all hands, but they bring many hands and resources.
They would bring like 40 bodies out, she just go knocking door to door if you had a missing person. That's exactly what they did in San Carlos.
Well, I don't see why anybody would say no to this.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
I don't think, I'd probably even put it on consent agenda. This is a no-brainer, so.
is there any drawbacks to it? Is there financial, is there?
None.
You know, you just
Scratch
have,
each other's back.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all there is
So
to it.
you respond when they need you as well?
Yeah, and fortunately, these things are fairly rare, 1 or 2 a year, whatever, but heaven forbid, if we had them and we need them, better to have and not need than want to not have.
Sure.
And they have quarterly meetings, they train quite a bit. We would have a guy assigned to them to participate in their training and whatever else they do, but from what I've seen, that's about the extent of the demand, quarterly training seminars.
Great.
They're very impressive people. They have, I forgot what they call it, the Blue Whale or something. They have this gigantic RV style bus. I mean, they can bring some equipment.
The
And-
command center would be like that big one, and then 2 supporting trailers with tables, chairs, just to make command post.
That's great.
Yeah, it
With all
was,
the lights, everything, like they did the
it was
presentation.
beautiful actually. But the whole idea is that, I read something the other day, and the point was that in an abduction case, most children get abducted or actually murdered within the first few hours of abduction. So if we can trim that curve up a little bit by making this agreement with other agencies throughout the state, that's win-win for us, especially if it's a cost of saving money.
And just recently had that scare.
We did, we thought there was an abduction game, it turned out to be somebody's poor judgment and silly prank, and they actually made an arrest, but
It actually wasn't the one I was talking about. I was talking about the one over here down the street that John found the kid. We actually were getting worried. And I
Yeah.
ran over that one.
Theo, that one,
Oh, yes, the
Yeah.
only found the kid. But
he was
it had gone,
mad
was
with his
getting close to
parents
an hour.
and overdue.
where we could not, we had 4 guys out looking, having a look.
So do you need to take this to the council to approve an MOU or no?
Yeah, but it'll just be a consent agenda item, I'm not gonna put it out for debate. This is, like I said, it's a no-brainer. We need to be in more of these, not less. Like I said, the arson one, I think is a really strong one. We're training up our guys for that. So being a part of that task force is gonna be a huge thing. So
Right,
I will look forward to more of these agreements.
and so do I, and I've been looking for some of these, and I found a few, because we're not dedicating a full-time body that's working on the state game task force, my old alma mater, but you're not donating a full-time guy to patrol South Phoenix, which has very little benefit for us. These guys are on an as-needed basis, and they train on a quarterly basis.
There's
They're impressive.
the drug house task force, there's the arson task force, there's this one, I don't know, are there any others that those are the one, oh, there's the DUI task force. But those are all similarly structured to send guys on occasion, not all the time.
Right, and at least most of what they do is in Pinal County. And our participation in there is twofold. We have some other objectives by participating there, but
The arson task force is, we've gotten a heck of a lot of use out of. We use them probably more than anybody else because we burn more than everybody else. So it's a good one to be a part of. Well, as of last night, I didn't put it that way.
makes progress. We just need to find a few people and talk to
So is this something we need to?
them. We need to make a motion on this
Just
one.
to, yeah, just to approve it, it's on there for discussion and approval. So a motion to approve and then
Any motion to approve this in? Almost to approve it.
I second it.
First, Francine seconded it, all in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Any opposed? Pass. We'll move on to item E, discussion on Apache League Festival security.
That one's me.
Before we get started on this one, is there any sensitivity of discussing this in an open forum?
Probably not. Let me tell you what it entails. There was a previous entity that had been retained for the chamber specifically with regard to the beer garden. And some at the chamber thought we would be a better fit for that venue, for that function, for that
Okay.
event. So they came to us and said, hey, we want to use some of your personnel in an operating capacity to oversee this, this, and this, particularly the beer garden, and a few other pieces that they require security for. I just want to run it by the committee and get a general view.
well, the town sponsors that program, and the general site security we cover. I don't know that the town wants to take on the liability of the beer garden unless they want to pay off-duty officers to do it.
They are, and that was the gist.
And I'm fine with that. Like I said, but we sponsor, it's kind of a gray area. We sponsor at our discretion, is what the policy says, police and fire services for the event, and public works.
And we're already planning on having quite a bit of manpower there. But we know in the past, and it was the vice chair of the chamber that came, in the past, we have had issues there. There was an issue involving a firearm and a fist fight. It could have gone worse, but it didn't. But I agree with him. And you might recall the prior entity that provided security there. They're not a law enforcement agency, and I think we'd be a much better fit.
They're nice guys, but they're security guards and not particularly motivated security guards.
10-4.
So I think it's a great thing, especially since they're tied into our network and they can get on the radio and get help. So there's no
Yes.
downside for that.
A better point.
So yeah, I'm fine with it as long as we're not paying for it, is what is my bottom line.
We aren't, and for us, it'll probably create an opportunity where we can pay some of our reserves, which is,
Always a bonus, yeah.
the exception, not the norm. Do we require any motion for that, or is that just general
No,
discussion?
there's an existing policy allowing off-duty service. You just follow that policy. No problem with it.
As a related note, we have another one that's come forward. He's put it out there, but he hasn't come to us yet. But I'm assuming he will follow the same protocol. As long as he agrees to pay for us, it's okay.
Yeah, it has to be approved by the chief to wear their uniform. If it's not approved by you and it's off-duty work, then they can.
The pharmacy has security concerns, but he hasn't officially come forward yet. That's all I have on that one.
Okay, no other discussion? We'll move on to F, discussion on mock DUI training by fire and police departments.
You know anything about it? It's-
Yeah, firefighter Via Verde has been coordinating it. You guys can hear me okay? So he's been keeping me posted. I helped find some manpower and try and get more. But I have enough firefighter reserves to staff an engine for the scenario that he's gonna do. The on-duty crew they're gonna be present, but they can break for regular traffic, fire EMS traffic if
We
needed.
usually call Kearney and Queen Valley too. So.
Queen Valley is participating, and I last heard Kearney was still up in the air if they're coming. He was working on the mortuary to participate, and both Native Air and AirVac are participating as well.
Bring the bird to the 50-yard line.
Two of them.
This is pretty usual. I mean, we've done this, 5 times now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just been, the last one's been at least 3 or 4 years. It's been a
Yeah,
while
we do
since
it every
the
year,
last
it's
one.
every month.
To me, it loses in any meeting to do it every year. It's gotta be every other year or every few years.
2 years, 3 years.
Because but you gotta have the kid drape across the hood, because with, the blood running out and just drape something over him, that makes him cry every time. And I think if you make him cry, you
Yeah, good job.
back.
Isn't somebody gonna run, the suspect?
There is a suspect that one of your guys handles. I'm not sure the details for that. I do know the impact, the emotional impact is set into the students. I believe the descendant simulated student is actually going to be brought over closer to the bleachers and be allowed to remain there motionless as a little spill takes place before the mortuary loads up that student.
And we do have 3 or 4 guys that we went to specifically and asked to participate in that.
Yeah, so waivers are being done and all that handled.
In fact, I was wondering if we could use that for a training session, but the question that JP and I came to was, and I talked about it with Richard as well, was what would be the nexus for resolution to a DUI car crash?
They participated before scene security.
Yeah,
Yeah, because if you're on, and I've been on the traffic accidents when I was wearing my resolution security outfit, and all I did was control traffic. And sometimes on the scene, bystanders help.
yes, they do, especially around here where the resources are thin.
So it's been, well, you did it once, what, 3 or 4 years ago? Or no, was it Tom? Is that the right name?
Fred, maybe, will we get that?
No, it was one of the security, health and safety participated, and we had 2 guys from health and safety doing the security on the scene. That was probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Quite a while back, I don't remember.
So, but it was, I mean, they did participate.
Yeah.
They just did scene security and that's it. And safety, for the event, which isn't a bad thing.
And I guess, I mean, the only reason it seems odd is because it's being done at the high school, but the event could happen anywhere.
It could be any traffic accident. I mean, you're talking
It could be
traffic
at the
accident.
Lone Tree Gate.
Yeah.
DUI is a
Yeah.
nationwide thing for
It's not, you know,
Feels good enough.
but yeah, they have participated before when we did it. And it's good for everybody going on the highway, you gotta, I mean, they don't show those videos in class anymore, I don't think, so.
No.
sure. Would you, I know it's in March, right?
March 7th.
March 7th.
Well, what we've
You know
done in the
that-
past to make it really successful is the Moulage lady.
Diane,
Ooh.
Chacon?
Yeah, I just heard her name the other day.
Yeah, I have a card for
Yeah. Let's wait for our next drill anyways. but-
Okay.
She'll give you a video and everything after too.
She
The
will.
collage of all the Moulage and all the event.
We heard her name today.
Yeah,
I'm telling
She
you.
wasn't expensive, I think.
yeah, I used to work for years at Wilson Iron,
Yeah.
the smelter in Haven.
She did a really good job.
Thoughts? Any more discussion on that?
I don't think so, I mean, it just kind of,
It works really well as a drill. It's a highly compressed, high-speed drill.
Yeah.
And
I guess it would be up to resolution if you guys like to participate. I mean, if it, I don't know about making a quarterly drill. I mean, if you're just doing traffic control, that's not really giving you a whole lot of.
it's a good
practice.
drill for the guys though, but I mean, we
Yeah.
cut that car apart in less than 10 minutes last time we did it. It was a
Yeah.
race between us and
And Queen Valley.
Queen Valley had
Sure.
one, and both cars were apart in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
Which
they're
is-
more than welcome, I mean, to.
I'd like to participate, but I don't think we can call it a drill. I think
Right.
we need to remember the focus of the drills are to get your teams more comfortable working at resolution. So, and you guys do car wrecks all the time, right? So, but I think we keep it just a drill away from this.
You got your new extrication stuff so we don't lose to Kearney this time?
You do.
Or Queen Valley?
They're all
Queen
battery
Valley's-
operated, we gotta set ours up, they're battery operated.
Oh, well, they stomped our butts last time.
Oh, we do have a combi tool, electric combi tool. We can work with.
Because they were pulling, we were still setting up when they were half apart.
Yeah,
They didn't beat us by a lot, they still beat.
right. Okay. Any more further discussion on that item? Now, only one left is adjournment. Okay, motion to adjourn, somebody?
Motion to adjourn.
John, second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned. 9:24.
There we go.